Thank you, Aaron. Good morning and welcome to Morning Call. I'm Michelle Caruso Cabrera. Mark Haynes and Liz Clayman have the day off. The Commerce Department right now releasing new home sales for November. CNBC senior economics reporter Steve Leisman here to help us sort through the numbers. And Steve, we expected to see new home sales rise. Did they?
They did rise, Michelle, and from an upwardly revised prior month. So let me go through this. And you said I have to make sense of the numbers. I'll try to do that. 1.047 million units. That's up 3.4%. And the October number was revised up to 1.013. So a little more strength there during his presidency.
Thank you, Steve.
Sure, my pleasure.
Steve Leisman, see him next hour. All right, more housing data to tell you about. Mortgage applications plunged last week to the lowest level in 5 months, pressured by weak demand for home refinancing loans. The Mortgage Bankers Association saying its index decreased 14.2% for the week ending December 22nd. Borrowing costs on 30-year fixed-rate mortgages inched a bit higher to 6.12%. You heard Steve talking about the level of rates. Still pretty low historically. Let's show you what the housing data is doing to the markets right now. We had already gone into this positive. Dow Jones Industrial Average was in positive territory leading into the numbers, and it seems maybe we've gotten a little bit more of a pop. Not much, though, as a result. Remember, the intraday high is 12,498. Doesn't look like we've gotten to that at this point, but we'll be watching. Right now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average higher by 75 points to 12,482. So a little bit more than 10 points away from a new intraday high here. All right, NASDAQ Composite higher by 14 2/3 points. That is a gain of 2/3%, 2,428. What is notable about that? Apple getting hit very hard on some news we're going to tell you about in a second, and yet the NASDAQ in positive territory. The S&P 500 higher by 6.5 points. That is a gain of 0.4%, 1423. Got to show you the price of crude oil, which got hit so hard yesterday. It's down again today by a little more than 60 cents, down 62 cents, a loss of 1%. We are below 61 here, $60.48 per barrel. Bob Pisani walking around on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. And Bob, bulls in control again today.
Yeah, I think, by the way, 12,480, that's enough for a closing high if we close here. It's not the intraday, you're right, Michelle, but it would be enough for a closing high. Nikkei's at a 7-month high. Europe is sitting near multi-year highs as well here today. I was doing a poll earlier, Michelle. About a third, believe it or not, of the traders down here were here during the Ford administration. A lot of discussion about that, and the unfortunate fact that he came in during a very, very severe bear market, one of the worst anyone's ever seen. They still remember it down here. But here's what happened when he came into office. The Dow had hit 1,000, 1972. The first time it ever closed over 1,000 was 1972, but by the end of 73, things have been moving down rather rapidly here. August 1974, when he came into office, the Dow was at 777, but it bottomed several months later, December 1974, at 577, almost half what it was just 2 years before. By the time he left office in January 1977, we were solidly out of the recession, moving up to 968. But believe it or not, the Dow did not close over 1,000 until 1982. Of course, that was the start of the historic modern bull market. Here's the chart, and I think we have a chart that you can see him coming through here during his entire presidency. But there on the far left is that downturn that we saw to 577, and then the market turned down a few months later again, and finally started moving up from there. Very, very difficult period. Now, often this is associated with slow growth and inflation, but traders here again point out he did bring in Alan Greenspan into his administration and laid the groundwork for a turnaround. By the way, of course, as you all probably know, the New York Stock Exchange is traditionally closed on the day of a president's funeral. This is going back to John F. Kennedy's assassination and his funeral. Now, this probably will occur next week, most likely, perhaps Tuesday or Wednesday. There is no rule that says the NYSE cannot close for 4 consecutive days. As a general rule, though, they avoid doing that. So if it is on Tuesday, they'll have to make a decision on whether they want to stay open. By the way, just let me know quickly, Ford and Toyota both to the upside on some speculation that there might be some discussions going on between them, both of their chairman and the CEO of Ford. The chairman of Toyota, the CEO of Ford, did meet recently. Michelle, back to you.
Bob, let's remind everybody why it is that they have to make make such a key decision about whether or not they're going to be closed 4 days in a row? I mean, the mandate of a market maker is to make a market, and if you lose liquidity for that long, it can be problematic.
They do not like to stay closed for more than 3 days because they want everyone to have the opportunity to trade. But there is no rule. People often say, well, there's a rule. There isn't any rule. It's a practice, and it's a practice that makes a lot of common sense. So if the funeral is on Tuesday, the NYSE is going to have to make a decision whether that is the day they observe and stay closed.
Right.
I'll let you know. They'll make this decision fairly soon. I've been upstairs trying to get the information out of them.
Okay. Great. Let us know, Bob. It's one of the reasons why there was so much urgency after September 11th as well to get the markets reopened and provide liquidity. Let's get a closer look now at those housing figures that were out just at the top of the hour that we went over with Steve Leisman. See to what extent they will impact the housing market and the economy in 2007. Here to Gerald Ford, the longest living former president, has died at the age of 93. Best known for pardoning President Nixon. Ahead after this.
Every minute of the day, there's important news that could impact your investments.
To get to the heart of the story, I've got to ask the right questions. It's not just about being tough, it's about being prepared.
When the biggest names in business have something to say, they say it to Maria Bartiromo. The interviews that move markets.
It's about hard work, credibility, and respect.
Closing Bell with Maria Bartiromo. Today at 3 Eastern, only on CNBC.
More fresh evidence today that holiday sales were not as good as expected. This